What kind of future do you want for your community? In the last 50 years, a lot has changed in the global economy. We've lost sight of the agreements and relationships that allowed for growth, production, and investment in economically beneficial activities and infrastructure. Once written into law and policy, these agreements affected different Wisconsinites differently, giving rise to political and social disagreements within the state. In addition, little communication and compromise between decision makers in both the public and private sectors have worsened these divides. Because of the lack of shared priorities and understandings across party lines, we end up downplaying the severity of problems real Wisconsinites face on a daily basis and miss opportunities for positive change. In this video series, we'll explore 4 possible futures for the state of Wisconsin by asking and answering 2 central questions. Do decision makers agree on priorities? And is there a common purpose and understanding between decision makers? The 4 combinations of yes and no from these 2 questions will help us understand what will happen when leaders do and do not agree on what goals to achieve and the priority to carry out these goals. Now, let's see what happens when we answer yes to the question, do decision makers agree on priorities? And no to, is there a common purpose, understanding, and interest between decision makers? When decision makers do share priorities but do not have common understandings, it leads to a fragmented future that does not address the diverse needs in our state and country. For example, a person is in need of food but has had financial difficulties in recent months, so they seek out their community food pantry. There are plenty of canned soups and baked pastries at the food pantry, but no healthy fresh produce. The pantry on paper produces food security since it is sufficiently stocked, but the diverse health and cultural needs of the individual shoppers are not taken into account. Many local farmers have produce to donate, but laws restrict them from donating produce, or the infrastructure and supply chains simply do not exist. Similarly, the large grocery store in town has a lot of leftover food that could be donated, but because of the insufficient government incentives or inefficient regulation, it's less expensive to throw it all away. This leaves food pantry visitors without healthy, fresh produce that could have been obtained if there was a more cross-sector and community-involved collaboration. Healthier populations mean reduced healthcare costs. Restaurants, farmers, and grocery stores all share priorities and want to drop off excess food to food pantries, but without supply chains or enabling regulations, we lose money by adding to landfills and healthcare costs. A recent Harvard study indicates that unhealthy diets contribute to almost 20% of healthcare costs from heart disease, stroke, and diabetes. This costs the nation $50 billion annually. Because public health officials, local business owners, lawmakers, and other community stakeholders do not have a shared understanding of what actually goes on in the food pantry, new legislation or revisions to old legislation are not serving the community members to the greatest extent. When we miss the common purpose and understanding, only certain issues get addressed and the diverse needs of communities are ignored. By creating collaborative, thoughtful policy, we can address multiple needs within the community. In order to develop that common understanding, we need to observe testimonials, data, and science as objectively as possible to better understand the diverse realities Wisconsinites live. Regulations, policies, institutions, and our daily choices have an impact on our current and future reality. We all play a role in ensuring our future communities work in mutually beneficial systems, so cross-sector collaboration is essential to ensure all voices are heard. While individual stakeholders have the freedom to make their own choices, we can provide information that informs these choices and their impacts on the community. Everyone has ideas of what the future of Wisconsin looks like and when that future takes place. By working across sectors, we can collaborate, align those goals, and work together to create a productive future for all. By collaborating, we are better equipped to hold each other and leaders accountable while being responsible to each other. To see the video exploring what happens when we answer yes to either or both of these questions, continue watching this series.